And now the national anthem of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. First verse and the chorus. Yes, so it's in the program for those of you who don't know it. And after we have it in English, then we're gonna have Miss St.Hill do it in Garifuna. So after 3, 1, 2, 3. St. Vincent's land, so beautiful, with joyful hearts we pledge to thee our loyalty and to love, and vow to keep you ever free. Whatever the future brings, our faith will see us through. May peace reign from shore to shore, and God bless and keep us through.
The national anthem of St. Vincent and the Grenadines in Garifuna, composed by James Lovell. You may Puitu wa muti wa bagaribu afienti wa bugabu wa kenda kwen kabu kapalanuga haruga wa wanzeruba lauisiani la badinagwa laulupa wa bureme. Thank you. Remain standing as we invite Mr. Bailey to say the prayer, and soon after we'll invite you to take a moment of silence for those lives, young Vincentian lives we have lost. So now Mr. Bailey to do the prayer.
Very much. The scripture says all good gifts come from above. Amen? So we just want to give God thanks for this evening's gathering, and of course for Trish as she displays her God-given talent in writing. Okay? Shall we bow for prayer? Father, we thank you for today. For this is the day that you have made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Thank you for blessing today's proceedings. Thank you for blessing each one who have come. Even bless the food. Some have participated already. We ask your grace and mercy upon us all today. Bless, keep us all. Cause friendships to be formed today, and fellowship would be sweet. We thank you in Jesus' name.
Thank you. A moment of silence for those lives lost. A moment of silence. Just allow the folks to put the cups down, and then we'll have some reverence for the 7 Vincentian, young Vincentian lives lost. Well, 9 actually, 7 in St. Vincent from the rock gutter accident in Fancy, and 2 in St. Lucia. They were also Vincentian children, 1, 6, 4. So we have to remember them this moment. Say a prayer for their families in your own mind. Thank you. Thank you. Once again, I want to welcome each and every one of you on this special occasion as Trish St.Hill celebrates the launching of yet another one of her productions. And at this moment, well, I must say that there are some changes to your program, as you would have noticed. And now I want to welcome the Consular General, Selman Walters, just to give us a bit of remarks. Mr. Walters, thank you.
Thank you very much, Tony. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Good, that's better. And Happy New Year to every one of you. I trust that everybody had a very good Christmas and that you will also have a very good New Year. I want to bring greetings to you from the government and people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and from those of us at the consulate. I want to especially congratulate Trish for another for hard work and production. It's not always easy to spend those long hours trying to put something together to preserve the history of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and particularly the Garifuna history of the Garifuna people who were almost exterminated by the British in St. Vincent a few centuries ago. But the very fact that we survived is a testimony to the fact that the Garifuna people cannot be easily extinguished. Today in Fancy, in the homeland of Garifuna, they are laying to rest the children who suffered, lost their lives in that fatal accident on January 12th. For the last 2 years, St. Vincent and the Grenadines suffered some casualties. The Christmas Eve flood of 2013, and at the beginning of this year again, this fatality, and then also what happened in St. Lucia where we lost 2 more lives. We need to go down in prayer and ask Almighty God to have mercy on our land. It's not very easy when you live out here and then you hear such fatalities at home. Is there anybody here who has relatives in the last disaster at home? Any relatives here from anybody? No? Okay, there are no direct relatives here. But the very fact that we have Vincentian people, we stand with them in this hour of loss. And we say a prayer for them in our hearts that God will give them the fortitude with which to move on. So today we spend some time in examining the Garifuna heritage, as you would realize that when the British came to St. Vincent, they met people living there. And sometimes I am confounded when the history tells us that Christopher Columbus discovered these islands. It's not true. Christopher Columbus explored the islands. The people who discovered them are those who were living there at first. The Garifuna people, the Caribs, they discovered it and they lived there. And then the British came in and said, we want these islands, you have to go. And that is why most of the Caribs, if you know St. Vincent very well, live in Fancy and Sandy Bay and Oweya, and in the interior, they were chased there by the British, as the British occupied the low-lying areas on which they can farm. And then those who were rounded up were carted off to Central America, having spent some time on Baliso where they were left to die. The remainder were carted off to Central America, where again they survived. And so we have a lot of people today who are our Garifuna people who made it here to the United States. I would love to see how many of us here claim without being ashamed the Garifuna heritage. Show by hands. Good. So if you are Garifuna, you are my brother, you are my sister. Boitugunya. My brothers and sisters, so having brought the greetings, having offered our condolences to the people, we now offer strongest, warmest congratulations to Trish as she put forward another of her productions to bring us more in depth with the Garifuna people and with all of us who should know the history and pass it on to those who come after us. Let's put our hands together for Trish and let her know that we appreciate the hard work that she is doing. Finally, we sometimes speak well of people when they can't hear us, when they are dead. We say good things about people when they are in the casket in front of us. But while they are alive, we appreciate what they did and they're doing, but we say nothing to them. Some years ago, I went to a funeral service down in Chateauguay. And as we came out from the church, the guy who died was supposed to be a notorious fellow. A guy who it is believed that he was involved in most of the pretty larceny of the farmers' animals. But they spoke well of him in the church. He was eulogized as being somebody like a saint. Everybody spoke well of him. A little guy who thought that they were not doing justice, he was not that. He asked his father as he came out, he said, "Dad, all those nice things that they said of him, is it true?" The father said, "No bother them, lie them a tell." So let's talk the truth about everybody and make them while they were alive. So when they are dead, they would go with the satisfaction that they did well, and we told them that they did well. Congratulations, Trish. Let's do our best for St. Vincent and Grenadines and for all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for those warm remarks. So before we get further into the program, I just want to warm you guys up a little bit, and I have a question for all the history students in here. How many history students we have in here? Show by hands? Just one? Okay. Let's hear if you can answer this question. Of all the kings in England, which one would have worn the biggest crown? Any answers? No one? That's easy. The one with the biggest head. All right. So moving on now. We're going to welcome Trish very soon. And to welcome her, I'm going to just give you a little background on Trish herself. Trish St.Hill was born Eutricia Haviland Charles in the village of Trumaca in the exotic country of St. Vincent and the Grenadines in the West Indies. She is the third of 14 children to her parents, David Charles and Jacqueline St.Hill Charles. Trish St.Hill is a pen name. Her father was a district agricultural officer who specialized in cocoa propagation. Because of his job, the family moved to Camden Park when Trish was just 4 years old. She would gain some of her most pleasant memories in that village. They finally settled in the town of Barley when Trish was 8, and the family still have a home in that town today. Her mother ran a small bakery and grocery store, and we must recognize Trish's mother in the audience. She's right there, right here. Thank you for producing such lovely children. I can't be biased, Trish, because some of the others are here. Along with farming, the couple was able to support their 14 children as well as her father's oldest daughter. As a child, Trish was very curious. Her greatest delight was to sit at her grandmother's feet and listen to stories about her great-grandmother, whom she calls Nenen. She described Nenen as a black woman with straight hair that was so long it reached the middle of her back. Her hair texture of any type is beautiful, but her hair was so unusual for a black woman that when she died, Trish's mother, that should be grandmother, cut off a lock and preserved it for posterity. Her grandmother was a very dark complexioned woman who also had the same texture of hair as her mother. Trish remembered asking her, "Ma St.Hill, what are you and Nenen mixed with? Why do you have that type of hair?" She would reply, "Me no know, child, me no know. Maybe a little Indian." "But we don't have Indian features," Trish would say. It was strange to even Trish, a small child, that someone who was a black person would have hair of that texture. As she matured into a young lady, a young man who she once dated kept telling her she had features like a Carib. She remembered laughing and ignoring him because, after all, she felt if she was a Carib, she would know, right? Another passion of Trish was to write short stories, but she would always joke that she was plagued with the world's worst handwriting, as we would call it in St. Vincent, crab toe and hangers. So her 4th grade teacher, Mr. Kirby, would always give her a failing grade because her writing was so scratchy. One day, he took the time to read beyond the scratch, and he called her to him. "Child, you are a very bright child. This is an excellent short story," he said, "but why do you write so scratchy?" Her little spirit was lifted. She pepped right up, and her handwriting improved. With her boosted self-confidence, she began writing short stories on the coconut tree, which became her place of solace. In 1979, Trish immigrated to the United States and settled in Brooklyn, New York. She worked as a nanny and housekeeper the first year. This was a humbling experience for Trish. Coming from a solid middle-class home, she never believed she would be relegated to working in someone's home as a servant. She married her first husband in 1980, and 4 years later, gave birth to a daughter, Rashida Raquel. And Raquel is somewhere in the crowd, looking pretty as usual. Life had many ups and downs for Trish, but through it all, she was determined to get a higher education. So in 1982, she began her academic career at Medgar Evers College. She transferred to SUNY College at Old Westbury, where she earned a bachelor's degree in management and information system. Her first marriage ended in 1996. So with renewed vigor, she enrolled in Empire State College, where she achieved a master's degree in social policy, adult education. Ever the romantic, she remarried in 2001 and in 2003 gave birth to her son Joseph, and Joseph is also in the crowd. Show your hand, Joseph. So in 2005, she became a grandmother when her daughter Rashida gave birth to her grandson Amir. Is Amir here? Mr. Handsome. In 2009, she and her new husband adopted her daughter Trishna, a teenager from St. Vincent. Is Trishna here? Okay. Trishna is at work. Trish always states with humor that she gave birth to her own grandchild, since her son and grandson are 20 months apart and more like brothers than uncle and nephew. Trish's sense of humor. My home life, that should be Trish's home life, is amusing and sometimes challenging. I should take that again. My home life is amusing and sometimes challenging, said Trish, but I would not trade it for anything in the world. She is the first to say that her life has not been an easy one, but she is always mindful of others who are less fortunate. She awakes each day with prayers and a grateful spirit and face the world with her head held high. Trish's motto is, life will undoubtedly throw us lemons, but the key to survival is how to take those lemons and make lemonade and other lemon delicacies. Hence, lemonade on your tables today. Like Stephen Convey, she believes that 10% of life is what happens to us. 90% is how we manage what happens to us. Everything we do, said Trish, there is a fork in the road. We have a choice which side of the fork to take. In addition to her family life and her corporate career, she's a member of the NAPW, National Association of Professional Women, executive director of the cultural retrieval organization Yoga Cure, which she will tell you a bit more about, member of the Garifuna Nation, and president of Ajani Publishing, where she has published a myriad of books, children textbooks, dictionaries, autobiographies, poetry, novels, and other books, just to name a few. So if you're thinking of writing your own book, you can contact our very own Vincentian publisher, Trish St.Hill. She began writing Beneath the Golden Mango Tree in 1984, while pregnant with her daughter Rashida. This book overcame many trials and challenges to reach its conclusion. As an Anglophone, English-speaking, West Indian immigrant attending college, she found that there was limited literature depicting the life and culture of English-speaking West Indians who settled in the United States. West Indians, said Trish, are still a misunderstood and silent immigrant group. This primarily black immigrant group is still to this day not thought of as true immigrants. West Indians, instead, are relegated to caricatures that they work 6 jobs, say, okay man, and yeah man, and wear dreadlocks. She wanted to debunk the myths that surround the culture and vowed to make a difference by writing her first book. However, life got in the way and it took her 25 years to publish it. Finding out about her Garifuna roots have sparked a passion Trish to write about the Garifuna culture. That is why she has integrated the story of the Garifuna people of Central America in all of her books. The Holocaust, and subsequent exile to Central America from their homeland of St. Vincent, Uramaine, is woven into the fabric of her novels. Being a true cultural activist, she hoped that through edutainment, she would enlighten her readers about the tragedy that befell the Garifuna people in our homeland, Uramaine, St. Vincent. In Beneath the Golden Mango Tree, the Garifuna, that's her second book, the Garifuna side of the story developed after she discovered that her maternal great-grandmother, Nenen, was described from Black Caribs, or that was descended from Black Caribs or Garifuna. That discovery initiated an enthusiasm within her to seek out the Garifuna people so she could understand that part of her heritage. She read everything she could find, spoke to everyone who could tell her anything about the Garifuna culture, and learned everything she could about the culture, including the language. This was when the names of the characters changed and the history of the Garifuna people were mingled with the story in her first book. After the Garo-Nago people were exiled, the British not only made it illegal for our ancestors to speak the language, the people were discouraged from practicing their cultural norms. Everything derogatory and negative were attributed to the Caribs, and as a result, people started to hide their Garifuna heritage. The language eventually died on Uramaine, the homeland of the Garinago people. And it's a lot to say about Trish, but we have to close sometime. So today, the Cultural Retrieval Organization, which Trish is the founding mother of, is greatly responsible for the return of the lost Garifuna culture to its historic homeland of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Today, many of the children in St. Vincent can dance, sing, drum, and speak Garifuna. Trish is passionate about the Garifuna culture and believes there is a reason for everything, and everything happens at the right time. She hopes that her readers enjoy this new book and look forward to starting a new series that will continue to enlighten and inspire them for many years to come. So at this juncture, I want to invite you to put your hands together for Trish St.Hill and for the achievements she has made in St. Vincent and the Grenadines to revive the Garifuna culture, and she will also recognize people in the audience who were, helpful in making that come to be. So now we welcome Trish to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you, and welcome everyone. What a wonderful turnout. Welcome everybody. I am so appreciative to look around and see so many friends and well-wishers, neighbors, family members. I want to acknowledge a few people here from work. All you Skadden people, my staff and colleagues, put your hands up, Skaddenites. Okay, these are all my Skadden people. Thank you. I want to, I know many of you have been following me on Facebook, and you have heard me talk about this young lady who called me one day and said she had some donations, some medical donations to give to St. Vincent. And when I was finished, when I went to pick them up, it was like 3 crates and a big box of medical supplies. I want that young lady and all her people at the party who helped us to pack those barrels 2 weeks ago to stand up. Last week, actually, last Saturday. Please stand up. They're from different countries, and they came together and donated these medical supplies, and we are so thankful. Also, before I get too far, I want you guys to know, initially we were going to sell like some coquito and rum punch and white and red wine. We're not going to sell anything besides this evening. You can go, if you want to drink, be responsible, but you can go over to the bar and you can get whatever you want of that combination. And of course, we have our lemonade and water. So I want to thank those folks. I want to thank Morella Bino, who is also a part of You A Cure. She has helped us when we have fundraiser to kind of run around here and do some groundwork. And my dear Christine Vernon, please stand up, Mama Chris. You got to stand up. Christine is responsible for the language retrieval program, language part of the program in St. Vincent for the last 2 years. I want to acknowledge another person who's not here, our colleague James Lovell. He has been going to St. Vincent since 2011 to teach the Garifuna language, music, dancing, and songs to the Vincentian children. And we very much appreciate his efforts doing that. I want to thank my neighbors for coming out, even my landlord. You know, sometimes people have landlords that they don't like their landlord. I actually like my landlord, you know. For you guys who know, we had a fire and we moved into Miss Phyllis. Put your hand up, Miss Phyllis and Mr. Bill. Okay. Also, the folks next to them, Miss Gail and Miss Pam. These are my neighbors, wonderful neighbors. I was just talking outside and saying that, you know, we moved to Rosedale from Long Island while our house is being rebuilt, and we finally understand what neighbors is about. You know, we can come out our door and say, Gail, do you have any salt? I'm out of salt, I need some, you know, and talk to each other like neighbors. In Long Island, I don't know who I live next to. I truly don't. I just know their faces, some of them, a few of them. I don't know their faces. So I got to move to Queens and see what Royal Caribbean neighborliness is about. So thank you folks for welcoming us and making us feel so welcome. I'm trying to see who else. My Garifuna brothers and sisters in the diaspora. Milton Guidi, the first man who taught me Garifuna. Professor, put your hand up. Okay, that's the first man who taught me Garifuna. Let's see, who else? I don't want to leave anybody out. My Skadden people, you ready to put your hand up, guys? Okay. My brothers and sisters, my brother Brian, my brother Junior in the bar, my brother Brian, attorney Brian Charles, he's an immigration attorney. My daughter Rashida Smith, also immigration attorney. And the young lady who was up here is a very good friend of mine, Tony Johnson. She's a journalist from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Rosita Alvarez, where are you? Oh, there you are. Of course, Selman Walters, he never turned me down, he always show up. My cousin Alma Weiss, who did my outfit and did the fashion show. Yes, this design is hers. I'm showing my best assets. It's cute. Anyway, and Chris's husband, Mr. Vernon, my mother, last but not least, my mother. I want to thank you. I want to thank you. I want to thank you for everything that you have given me. I want to thank you. I'm sorry. I remember being in school, and life was hard, and I couldn't manage, and I dropped out of college. And one day she was walking, I don't think my mother was making more than minimum wage. And she came to me and she said, I don't know how she did it. She saved $700. That was the tuition back in the day. And she said, your marriage isn't working good, and you got to prepare yourself. She said, I can't help you with your books, but here's your tuition.
Look, she laughing when you're crying.
I'm so sorry. And I was able to go back to school and make something of my life. So I want to tell you that I love you. And I don't ever want to know what it feels like to get up and have you there with me. I love you. I hope I haven't left anybody out. I want to say quickly, my sisters, Andine, Jillian, her real name is Jillian, my sister, Trish, some people know about Utilda. Everything I do, you guys, you stand beside me. I mean, I don't pay them a nickel. They just stand beside me and just help me. My sister, Anna Roxanne, put your hand up. You're like a sister to me. I've never called and asked for your help, and you haven't helped me. Thank you. I appreciate it, and I don't want to leave anybody out. My friend, I have a very old friend here, Patsy Akers. We go back a long time. Wave. Carol, her niece, and Miss Tommy. These, when I look around, I'm very blessed because I have a room full of friends, who've supported me over the years. Oh. I had something at my elbow speaking. I'm like, okay. All right, don't put anything next to me. I'm going to start it down. My friend Anthony Shiverton, who's also been one of our friends at UWCure helping us. I think he's off to law school at this point, so he's kind of busy. So I don't want to take too much time.